Hey, up next on the MARR Army Rock Show, I've been talking about this band for a little bit now. They are Lady Diesel out of Philadelphia. And full disclosure, man, we've known all the guys in the band for quite a long time. Phil Michaels is with us. They've got a new record out called Store Bought Love. Phil, welcome back to the show.
Oh, it's great to be here, man. Missed you guys.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since we saw you. And now for folks that maybe don't know the band yet, this band is formed from 4 Philly music veterans from the scene. So why don't you go ahead and introduce the world to Lady Diesel?
All right. Well, you got myself from Hammer Down, as well as Chico Crow on bass and vocals, also from Hammer Down. We have Pete Lacquatero on lead guitar from Cyanide Saints, and the one and only Damian Monte Carlo on drums from Mach 22. It's a virtual murderer's row of rock musicians.
Yeah, this is sort of like the Philadelphia version of the supergroup, huh?
I usually don't like to use the word supergroup because we're not the kind of guys going to be putting a cape on anytime soon, but I will cop to the fact that there's 4 very talented guys that love to play some rock and roll. It's a virtual murderer's row of musicians.
Now, everybody, as we're talking about, has listened to the show. We've had, literally everybody from your band in one band or another on the show. So talk to us about what it was that brought the 4 of you from, the 3 different groups together for this project.
Well, the funny thing about Lady Diesel is it was actually supposed to be a side project. Pete sent me a song. He actually sent me the music to the song Sweet Whiskey Rider. It's like 3 years ago now. And I was still living in my apartment. He just shot it to me one night and said, "Hey, can you write lyrics to this for me?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So 15 minutes later, I sent him the lyrics back. And he goes, "Hey, that was quick." He goes, "Want to come over next Saturday and demo it? Do the lyrics?" Because he had already laid down all the guitar parts. I said, "Yeah, sure." And it just became a thing after that. He had all the gear in his place, and he said, "Look, if you want to demo new songs, why don't you just call me up and come over when we can get together?" Every now and then, every couple of weeks or so, I'd pop into his place and demo another song. And something kind of started to take shape. We were enjoying it, and he and I were enjoying working together. I never realized he was such a bluesy player, because what they did in Cyanide Saints was more modern. So he and I kind of clicked real easily, and it got to the point we had Chico come over and cut a bass track one time. And going forward, what we wanted to do was bring a drummer in. I already wanted to get Damian. I just always enjoyed the way he plays. So, long story short, our bands wound up, after time trying to get this thing together, our bands wound up going on the shelf. So now we had really no reason not to do it. So instead of it being a side project, it became our main band, and we actually had our first rehearsal, I think it was last July, and took it in the studio in January, got some pictures done, played our first show in February, and we just finished playing our 3rd show, which was the infamous Cheesesteak Boogie in Philly with our friends from Babylon Shakes and Streetlight Circus and 86 Bullets. It was a great time, and now the band's just kind of moving forward, wondering what we're going to do next.
Yeah. So, hey, I got to ask, because I do enjoy seeing your adventures on the road on your Facebook post, as it were. Does the name Lady Diesel come from your own love of the big rigs, as they were?
Well, I mean, partially it's that. It's funny about the name. The thing that I didn't name Hammer Down. And so every time I'd Google something and I would see it again, it annoyed me. So I guess it was a couple years ago. I mean, granted, there's God knows how many bands in the United States name something, that's similar, but it just used to annoy me a little bit. So one day I was sitting in the crib and just kind of throwing words around in my head, and Lady Diesel pops into my head. And I told Pete about it. I said, "Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody what the name of the band." I said, "Until we're actually on a stage somewhere, don't tell nobody the name of the band." Because I'd Googled it and didn't find a band using that name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was kind of excited about it. But then here's the downside, is that all the time it took to finally get the band on a stage and get the thing together, I'm wondering, man, if I go on Facebook next week and I see some Lady Diesel thing up there, I'm going to flip a switch, man. But luckily, I think we made it all the way. But it was just two words I thought sounded cool together, and in a weird kind of way described our rock and rolly vibe. So I went, that's as good a name as any, you know?
So, hey, listening through the record the last week or so, and thanks for sending it over to the studio. Tell me about one of my favorites on there. Tell me about the tune "Tears Go By." What's that tune about?
That's kind of a very personal song for me because it's about me, but it's about some friends too. You know, in life, we all go through some stuff, man, and some of it is like real bad. And it's the kind of stuff that we all struggle to deal with sometimes. And it was right after, it was a couple years after my mom had passed away. And I was sitting there one day thinking about her. It was getting close to her birthday, and the anniversaries are always tough. So I start strumming the guitar, and I come up with this tune. But at the same time, I got this buddy of mine down south that's going through his own shitstorm, if you will. You know, he's all busted up inside, and I got a couple friends all kind of surfing that wave at the time, and we're all kind of leaning on each other. And the thing that just popped into my head was like, you know, I know there's going to come a time when this is going to be a lot easier for me to digest, but it's not today. So the only thing I could tell myself, kind of to make myself feel better, was that tears go by. You know. And it's hard, man. You know, we all, like I said, we all deal with it, and it's all in there in the lyrics, you know. And the biggest thing to me was, don't deny what you're feeling now, and don't you hide. You'll make it back somehow.
Hey, stylistically, this band, for people that know you, we've gotten used to that Phil bluesy style, and you mentioned with Pete being a bluesy player, I almost find it hard to say this about a Philadelphia band, but it almost has a little bit of a southern feel to it this time.
Yeah, you know, I have a lot of great influences, but the South is definitely always an influence. Like, anybody that wasn't influenced by Lynyrd Skynyrd wasn't paying attention, you know? And at the end of the day, you know, we're all using kind of similar chord patterns and the same kind of feel and vibe, you know, and you tweak something one way or another and it gives it a different color, you know. So, yeah, some of it sounds straight out of Jersey. Sometimes it lends itself to, you know, where these guys hang out at Muscle Shoals, you know. So we kind of like that. The great thing I love about this EP is that, kind of, as you said, we kind of took... I guess prior, I was always trying to write for the band with the band in mind and thinking what our audience wanted, which is kind of daunting. So I would write all these songs, but then I would kind of pick and choose what the band was going to play. So this time around, I kind of went a different way. Pete and I had discussed it. I said, look, if we come up with a good bit, then we're going to play it. I don't care if it's like, you know, Zydeco Polka. If we come up with something that sounds cool, then let's play it. What's the worst thing that can happen? You know, so I said I wanted it to be just about. I wanted every song to be good. I wanted everybody to hear the songs and be able to listen to them and say, I dig that, but it's got kind of a different flavor. You know, like Tears Go By, for instance. You know, it's kind of a mid-tempo thing, not normally what I would write. You know, and then you go right to like Knocking on Roses. It's like, yeah, it could have been on a Stones record. You know. Yeah. So the cornerstone of my writing style is still intact, but you know, we decided to take some musical adventures this time around, you know, and see where that got us. And so far, so good. You know, people seem to dig it.
Now, you mentioned you played a couple of the shows recently, and it looks like you did real well with those. Can we expect to see you guys, for those wondering, you know, bridging outside of Philly anytime soon? I know it's tough because you're all real busy dudes.
Yeah, we're making plans now. We're trying to work it out. We've developed a real a friendship with the guys in Babylon Shakes. We enjoy each other's music, and we had a blast playing together. It was like it felt like, you know, we came in to play a show and went home with extended family. You know. Yeah. So we're making plans. We don't know when it's going to be yet. Chris Clark and I have talked about it. Matter of fact, they're coming up here in October to play at a club near me. So hopefully in the not too distant future, you're going to see us down in the Baltimore area somewhere.
Well, we'll look forward to that. We always enjoy it when you make it down here. We love coming up to the Philly, Jersey area, too, to see you guys. Now, hey, it's such a great scene up there. You know, when I saw the lineup of this band, we've gotten to know so many of you. I call them the staples of the Philly music scene. How far back do you go with some of the guys that are in this band right now?
You know, this is the funniest part of this band. I didn't know. I've known Pete and Chica. I've known Pete the longest, which is about maybe 6-7 years.
Oh, wow.
We met through mutual friends when Hammer Down started playing in Philly, and Cyanide Saints was going. That's how we met. I mean, and it's strange is that Pete grew up in South Jersey as well. We just moved to different circles. Chico, I met him at a John Waite show in South Philly, probably like 6 years ago. He was wearing this cool leather jacket, and he was digging this long wool coat I was wearing, and we kind of commented each other on our style sense, you know, and it became a friendship. And he came out to see Hammer Down play and said, if you ever need a bass player, give me a call. And that's what happened. When I did need a bass player, I called Chico first, and we've been together ever since. Damien I knew of, and I got to meet him probably in about the same time frame as Chico and Pete. But and we did some shows together, and I loved the way he played. I enjoy his style so much. It's like he always does what's right for the song, you know? And on top of that, he's got a great voice, and he's a lot of fun to hang out with. So I got to know him over the years a little bit until my old band started doing some shows with Mach 22. So, like I said, when it came down to who do you want to play drums, I said, let's give Damien a call. But that's the weird part is, like, we've all been working the scene for a long time, but I didn't, you know, we knew of each other here and there, but really didn't know each other until...
Yeah, it's funny you say that because you've all been playing up there so long. I'm surprised it's only been that many years. That's really interesting.
Oh, yeah, it's bizarre. We were talking about a rehearsal one night, like, I think one of the things popped up on Facebook one time. I said to Pete, I go, we've only known each other 6 years. It seems like 60. You know, because he and I, you know how it is. You get fast friends with people sometimes. You just find people that are surfing the same wave as you, living in the same orbit, and you just become thick as thieves in a hurry. And that's how it kind of is with the guys, you know, in the band. And we enjoy going to rehearsal. We enjoy working out the tunes. But it's just funny, man. These guys, I feel like I've known them my whole life. And in reality, it's only been about 6-ish years.
So I'm going to ask you probably the toughest question I'm going to ask you all night. If you had to pick a favorite, and I know that's a tough one for people to answer sometimes, but out of the tunes on the record, I'm going to play 3 of them tonight. What's your favorite tune on the record so far, do you think?
I'd have to say we're all very much enamored with Black Moon Lullaby. And we actually have plans to make a video for that song at some point. But there's just something about that. It was one of the first tunes we worked on when we got together, and it fell into place real nice, and it's got this just real nice vibe to it. And so I'd have to say, I mean, I love them all, but I'd have to say Black Moon Lullaby.
Well, Phil, man, we're going to make sure we spin that one tonight. Once again, the band is Lady Diesel out of Philadelphia. You can pick up Store-Bought Love right now and go see them live. And I hope to be seeing them down in the Baltimore area. If not, you know, we're not afraid to make a trip up there to Philadelphia to see you guys as well
that's
true. Phil, thanks so much for being here. Congratulations on the new band, and give my best to all the band members. They're all great people.
I will, K-Rock. Thank you so much for your support and love all these years, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.